Hey everybody, welcome to Snow Talk on this Thursday, the 26th of February. I'm waiting for news meteorologist Brian Good. Quick note here, we will have another blog update tomorrow, and then I'm going to take some days off and hibernate. When I come back though next week, the title of the blog will be changed. We're heading into meteorological spring, so I'm going to switch the title over to Storm Talk as we head into the spring season. Doesn't always mean there will be a storm in the forecast. Just like Snow Talk doesn't always mean snow is coming. That's just the headline that I'll have the blogs because we're getting out of the season. So you will see a different title next week. Just a heads up on that. Today, a few snowflakes out there. Most activity, if anything at all falls today, will likely fall west of 65. You see we've got some sunshine now, and that's warming us up. Despite the north flow, we'll be above freezing this afternoon. 32 here, 33 already at Fort Knox, and 36 down into Munfordville. Areas to our south, by the way, picked up some very light snow showers, but the accumulating snow, half inch to about an inch and a half, fell on our far southern tier, just like some of the models were indicating. So here's the pattern as we look down the road here. It hasn't changed really much. We've got energy. This is a different setup we've had past several months, really. Energy diving into the southwest. While it gathers its steam, it will not affect the boundary that lays across the Ohio Valley initially. Therefore, anything that comes at us has a precip type issue, and that looks to be late Saturday into Sunday that we would see that potential because it's a weak wave. It's not strong enough to push in warm air and move that boundary northbound. So with it being weak, there's a better chance for some precip type issues. That's one wave. After it goes by, the energy finally in the southwest ejects out. The problem is when does it eject out? And secondly, which way is it going to track? Is it going to go into southern Indiana, southern Ohio, or is the GFS ride and it's going to track north of Indianapolis as we head into next week? So we got to nail that down because that will determine not only timing issues, but it will determine the heavy rain path, and it will also determine how warm we actually do get for next week. All right, so let me show you first off how the weekend is looking. The RPM has a fairly good handle on this. We'll drop down the teens tonight as we into Friday. I think we'll make it above what our record cold high is, which is 20 degrees. We should easily pass that tomorrow, even though it's a cold flow tomorrow. And I don't think we're going to set a record here on Saturday morning. We may have some clouds around, so that record likely will stay safe. The record Saturday here in Louisville is 9 above. Saturday, though, does look to be a cold day, and then we get into that weak wave that gets thrown out at us as we head into early Sunday. Best chance for anything frozen looks to be north of I-64. It looks brief. But if you're up early Sunday, don't be surprised if you have a burst of snow or sleet that could develop in your area early on Sunday. Liquid to the south. The good news is we should all warm up enough that it goes to all liquid by mid to late morning. And it may end again as a flurry or even freezing drizzle late Sunday night, but again, looks brief. So overall, not an impacting event when it comes to wintry weather with that, but it is something we will track. All right, now let's talk about when that main low comes at us next week. This is the GFS. It is the faster right now of a lot of the models. It does take it further to the north, but it does bring in the main passage of rainfall and energy as we head into Tuesday night. And with that kind of a timing on this, it does still bring a heavy rain threat, but it does impact the warm air potential. I think even with this flow, I mean, look at these winds aloft. Very strong above our heads, so we can easily reach 60 degrees with clouds and rain Tuesday night. But the severity of storms will be impacted by the nighttime passage. It's still showing some instability all the way into central Kentucky, but and you can get severe weather out of nighttime events, even with those values, but it's not very likely. But some gusty winds and some heavy rain and lightning, yeah, I think that's a feasible thing, according to the GFS, if it comes through at that time. However, it's worth mentioning that the Canadian is slower with the idea. It's a little closer to us, by the way. Takes it right across Indiana. But it is slower to where we have the passage of the event taking place Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday night. And with that slower timing, we have a better chance to get warm Wednesday. In fact, it would hint at temperatures well into the 60s, not far from even 70 to our south. And it also would then increase our chance for the severity of the thunderstorms to be a little higher than what the GFS is showing. But we don't want to get too specific on that because predicting severe weather, this kind of a setup this far out, is kind of ridiculous at this point. We really can't do it. But we at least can tell that the storm is going to have a lot of moisture with it. We know it's going to have wind energy with it. We've just got to figure out the timing, and that will determine our warmth and our potential on the severity sides, and we're not going to know that until after the weekend is up. So stay tuned for more information on that, but at least it's something we are tracking because the heavy rain potential out of this could be significant. Several inches of rain could fall, and we'll see how that plays out with the melting snow that is taking place now. And the next, well, it won't melt much tomorrow, but as we get into the weekend, there will be some melting that will take place, and that combined with the heavy rain could lead to some flooding issues for us. So we'll watch that. It is interesting to note, though, there is a snowpack to the south. That should have rolled away by the time the system moves in, but some spots here to our south could actually be colder than we are as we head into the start of the system, as we head into next week there. All right, so we're about to say goodbye to February and hello to March. It looks like the weather is going to line up almost perfectly with the calendar there. I see a shot of cold air coming, by the way, after the system as we head into about a week from today and Thursday. It doesn't look brutal, but it will send us below average, and then we'll see another chance for warming trends. So could we finally be out of our Arctic cold snaps? Never say never around here, but at least we're getting better data to suggest that. So spring lovers, hang tight.